You know, I've been talking to myself to the camera for about 5 minutes and I realized I never hit record. Yeah. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Jessie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about all of the books in 2021 that I am most anticipating for. Before we get into today's video, I did want to let you guys know that I do have my Goodreads account linked in all of the descriptions of my videos, but I actually made a specific shelf for 2021, so if you guys are interested in any of these books, I have that linked in the description of this video as well as all my other social media. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video. Alright, hopping on to my Goodreads. So the first one I want to talk about is You Love Me by Carolyn Kepnes. If you know anything about me, you should know that I love the whole You series. I love the TV show. I love the books much more, and I'm very excited to finally see where Joe's life's going to go to. I particularly don't know what book 3 is going to be about. I just know it's supposed to be a continuation from the second book, Hidden Bodies. So I'm not going to read the synopsis because I like to go into those a little bit more blindly. So the next one we have is The Wrong Family by Taryn Fisher. This one gets released December 29th of 2020. So it's not a 2021 release, but I am including it into this video. I'm a little bit more apprehensive about reading this one just because I have not been the biggest Taryn Fisher fan. I've read Bad Mommy or I Could Be Another You. And I also read The Wives, which was last year's release. And I don't know, I'm just not, like, I feel like her premises or her ideas for stories are so unique and wild, but the executions haven't been that great for me. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This one has to do with a woman who I think finds out she doesn't have very long to live, and she moves into this like perfect family's perfect home, and she kind of overhears things. And I know she's a therapist, so I think that may be having something to do with the plot, but I think she overhears this perfect couple say something, and she kind of goes about with that information as she pleases. The next one I have is The Drowning Kind by Jennifer Mahan, I think is how you say her last name, but this one sounds really good. It has to do with like a sister relationship, which is not something I typically like, but I think the fact that one of them is already dead kind of makes it a little bit more interesting to me. So, but this one has to do with like a woman who gets like these random calls from her sister. She's thinking she's just having another episode. Well, then I think the next day she finds out that her sister drowned herself in their grandmother's estate. And so she kind of goes back to figure out like exactly what happened. But I also think this is like a dual timeline because something happened, I think in like the 1920s. Yeah, in 1929. Yeah, so this one sounds really interesting. I do like atmospheric settings when it comes to like big mansions or estates. I feel like this one will be kind of interesting. Next we have Every Last Fear by Alex Finley. This one comes out March 2nd. I do have a NetGalley arc of this one, so I am really excited to read this one. This one has to do with a guy who goes to like a college party, I think. When he returns home, he actually finds out that his little brother and sister and parents were actually killed. So there's a lot of like media going around of like what actually happened to his family. But his family has also been in the spotlight before because I think his brother was incarcerated or got off or something for the murder of someone. So this one sounds really interesting, and I think him and his brother kind of like come together to like figure out what happened. I could be wrong though. The next one I'm super excited for is Every Vow You Break by Peter Swanson. This one I think comes out at the end of March. Yeah, March 23rd. And this one sounds really interesting. So you have this woman who's marrying this like millionaire, and like just seems like her whole life is just gonna be set. Well, she has a drunken one-night stand with a super hot guy, doesn't even share his name. It's a one-night stand, and then she goes on, marries him. Well, this dude that she slept with crashes their honeymoon and swears that their love that they had that night is unbreakable. So I love the concept of that. That just sounds super creepy. You should know I love like unhinged stalkerish type of books. So this one sounds perfect. The next one I have is The Stranger in the Mirror by Liv Constantine. I'm really hoping this one brings back my love for Liv Constantine's because The Wife Stalker was not a good one for me. This one comes out in July. I think it's about a couple who's getting ready to get married, and The woman can't remember anything, doesn't even remember her own name, especially this man who's claiming to marry her. And I guess this has like an amnesia trope, so I feel like this is something I would like. Let's see, it says a few years ago, a kind driver found this woman bleeding on a New Jersey highway and rescued her. While her physical wounds healed, Addison's memory never returned. She doesn't even know her name or how she ended up injured on the side of the road, or why she can't shake the notion that she may have done something very, very bad. And then it says that there's a guy trying to figure out what happened to his wife who disappeared 2 years ago without a trace. So this sounds super interesting. I love like two stories and how they like intertwine at the end. So this one sounds like it's gonna be a really good one. All right, next I do have a young adult, which is pretty shocking for me, but this is by Courtney Summers. I know she's the author of Sadie, which I haven't read, but I've heard really good things about that one. This one has to do with this girl where her sister kind of leaves to go off into like this like cult-like organization, and basically she's always trying to like help her sister get out of this while she's taking care of her grandmother. And then some guy comes to her as like, you know, this cult killed my son, and so now I think she kind of gets swept into this cult and she's trying to figure out answers of what's going on. But I think she slowly gets a little, what's it called, brainwashed, is that the right word? Where she kind of gets brainwashed by the leader of this cult. So I'm super excited. I love cults, so hopefully this one is a promising one. Also, this one's called The Project. I don't think I said the title, by Courtney Summers, and it comes out February 2nd. Next, we have a romance. This is by Katie Wismer. It's the Anti-Relationship Year. This one I am more excited about than her first book, just because this one is labeled more as a romance. The other one was more of a coming of age contemporary, but this one sounds really good, something I would really like. Just based on the description, it kind of sounds more of like the Colleen Hoover type of setup, not like the sexy smut, but like the setup of a romance. Basically, you're following the friend from the first book, and it's just a companion novel. You don't have to read the first book, but you're following her as her freshman year of college and then her senior year of college. So it does have two timelines, which I really like. This one where Joanna is basically just trying to like graduate high school, move on with her life. There's a few things that she can't remember that happened to her freshman year, and then I think it has to do with like a friends to lovers type of plot, because her best friend Miller is trying to help her even though he knows things that happened that she doesn't know. Next, we have Survive the Night by Riley Sager, which you guys should already know I'm super excited for. This one comes out I think at the end of June, and this one says it's set in the 1990s, which I love because I'm a 90s kid, so I love that. But this one has to deal with a girl at a college, and there's like this campus killer. Well, she's trying to get home to her family from college, and she basically like hitchhikes, and this guy picks her up, and like as they start connecting, like his story doesn't really add up to like his story. Like there's a lot of plot holes in it, and so she thinks she's in the car of the campus killer, and there's something in his trunk and he won't let her know what it is. So I'm super excited to read this one. Like, I love Riley Sager. Next, we have Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. This one is set to come out May 18th, and I don't think this one has a synopsis yet. Oh, it does actually. People just don't go missing without a trace. Shelby Tebow is the first to go missing. Not long after, Meredith and her 6-year-old daughter Delilah vanish just blocks away from where Shelby was last seen. Striking fear into their once peaceful community, are these incidents connected? After the elusive search that yields more questions than answers, the case eventually goes cold. Now, 11 years later, Delilah shockingly returns. Everyone wants to know what happened to her, and no one is prepared to know what they'll find. I like it. So I love it when people go missing and then they just show up randomly. This one sounds really, really good, especially because it's the daughter of one of the two women. I feel like that's really going to add like a lot of pizzazz to it. And this one again is set to come out in May. The next one we have is The Therapist by B.A. Paris. I don't know much about this one. I'm a little apprehensive going into this one just because Behind Closed Doors I think is probably her only good book. I have two others that I haven't read, but I have not heard really good things about this one. But this one sounds more like a thriller. and this one is said to come out July 13th. This one has to deal with a couple who are moving into like this very exclusive neighborhood suburb type of location, and something happened to the owners of their house about 2 years ago who was a therapist. So I think the woman that's moving into this house starts digging up a little stuff, even though the neighbors don't like that. So hopefully this one's promising. We'll see. All right, guys, those are all the books that I am so excited to read about in 2021. Let me know what you guys are most anticipated for next year. And also make sure you follow me over on Goodreads and Instagram so you don't miss out on any stuff like that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any other bookish content. I post at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. And I hope you guys are all doing well, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!